Nobody talks about this, but there's a specific formula that separates the filmmakers who are booked out 6 months in advance from the ones still shooting for free trying to build their portfolio. It's not your camera, it's not your color grade, it's your storytelling system that makes clients feel like they have no choice but to hire you. And I'm going to break the whole thing down right now. Here's what most filmmakers get completely backwards. They think the path to getting paid looks like this. Shooting better footage, building a bigger reel, eventually clients will notice. And I get it, right? That logically makes sense, right? But here's what actually happens. You spend months, sometimes years, chasing that perfect shot. You get genuinely good at the craft. But when a potential client looks at your work, they don't see, what you see. They don't see the 400 hours of practice. They see a video. And the question that they're asking, consciously or not, is, can this person tell my story in a way that moves my audience to act? That's a storytelling question, not a cinematography question. So today I'm breaking down the 4 pillars of a cinematic storytelling formula, the exact framework I use to turn beautiful visuals into paid deliverables. Let's get started. Most beginners build their video around information. Here's what the product does, here's how it looks, here's why you should buy it, and the footage looks great, right? Wide shots, drone footage, smooth, you're using a gimbal, but there's no emotional foundation underneath it. Think about the last time a video genuinely stopped you, made you lean in, maybe even gave you the chills, right? That video wasn't moving because of its resolution. It was moving because it made you feel something before it told you anything. So here's a formula: emotion before information every single time. The first 10 seconds of a client's video should not explain what the business does. It should make the viewer feel the problem that the business solves. You're not selling a gym, you're selling a version of themselves they'll always wanted to be. You're not selling a restaurant, you're selling the feeling of being somewhere special with people that you love. When you build from emotion first, clients don't just like your work, they feel it. And that is the complete difference, in the conversation when it comes to getting paid. All right, here's where the harsh reality check comes in. Most client videos that underperform, the ones clients are disappointed with, they have no structure. They're a collection of beautiful shots, set to music, and without structure, even incredible footage feels flat. It's like having a sports car engine without a transmission, right? The power's there, it just has nowhere to go. Every piece of visual content that ever moved a human being follows the same fundamental blueprint. So 3 acts, a world before, a conflict that disrupts it, and a resolution. That whole architecture right there. Let me give you like a real world example. I had a client, a small fitness studio. The easy route was to shoot their equipment, their trainers, their classes, beautiful B-roll, generic commercial. Well, instead, we opened with someone struggling, like self-doubt, an early alarm maybe, a voice telling them to stay in bed. Like that's act 1, right? The world before with the tension already built in. Act 2 was a moment they walked through the doors or they finally started running. The community, the coach, the shift. So Act 3 is transformation, not just physical, but who they are when they leave. Same footage, completely different story. And that video, well, it became the top performing piece of marketing for that year. Structure is the difference between footage and storytelling is what gets you paid. Real quick, if this breakdown is already changing how you think about your client work, hit the like button right now. It tells YouTube that this is worth showing to more filmmakers who are trying to really level up. So, all right, let's get back into it. Sound is 50% of the story, maybe more. Nobody talks about this enough in filmmaking circles. You can have the most cinematic footage in the world, and bad audio will kill the entire emotional impact of the piece. But I'm not just talking about clean audio, I'm talking about sound architecture. Sound architecture means intentionally layering 3 things. Your primary audio is going to be the interview, the voiceover, and the dialogue. Your ambient sound, the room tone, the environment, the texture of the space, and the music, which isn't background noise, it's an emotional signal. Here's why this matters for getting paid. The music choice makes the first emotional decision for your viewer before they process a single visual. If you put the wrong track underneath your footage, it doesn't matter how good your shots are. The viewer feels the wrong thing. Friction is the enemy of execution. and audio friction is one that kills the deal. When I deliver client projects, I spend as much time on sound design as I do on color grading, because the client might not be able to articulate why a video moves them, but they know when it does, and that feeling is exactly what brings them back and paying you, a higher rate. Let me give you a real world example of all three pillars working at once. I shot a short brand film for a local business. Tight budget, no Hollywood rig, no large crew, just me, my camera, and this formula. We opened with emotion. A single close-up shot of, hands at work, no context yet, just texture and music. Pillar 1. We moved through the 3-act structure, the struggle of building something from nothing, the turning point, the result. Pillar 2. In sound design, ambient audio from their actual workplace, layered underneath a track that, started, stripped back and built into something cinematic. So pillar 3, the client cried watching the final cut. Not because the gear I used, but because, they felt seen. That video got shared organically hundreds of times, and it led directly to 3 referral clients for me in that same quarter. That is what this formula does. Beautiful footage is the entry fee. The formula is the differentiator. Pillar 4, and this is the pillar that actually converts great work into great money. It's your delivery system, honestly. Here's the part where filmmakers skip entirely. You can execute pillars 1, 2, and 3 perfectly. Emotional foundation, 3-act structure, killer sound design, and then you send the client a, Dropbox link and wait. That's not a system. That's hoping. And hoping is not a business model, right? Clients don't just buy footage. They buy certainty. They are handing you money and trusting you with their brand, their vision, their livelihood. And if you show up without a system, you introduce friction into that trust. And, friction kills deals before the invoice even gets sent. Your delivery system has 3 parts. Part 1, the pre-production questionnaire. Before you shoot a single frame, you know what their audience, the emotional outcome they want, and a specific action that they want the viewer to take. That questionnaire alone positions you as a strategist, not just a camera operator. So part 2 is structured revisions. Define them up front in writing. So clients who feel in control of the process are clients who pay me on time, refer other clients, and they come back. In part 3, the handoff presentation. Don't just send a link, frame the final video, tell them the story behind the choices, the emotion you were building toward, the business results you were aiming for. When you hand it off like that, you stop being a vendor, you become a partner. Clients don't pay for the size of your camera rig, they pay for the final results and the delivery system on how you prove every single time that your results are worth premium rates. So let's bring it home. The cinematic story formula is 4 pillars. Emotion before information, the 3-act structure for every client deliverable, intentional sound structure, and the delivery system that positions you as a strategic partner, not just a shooter dropping something in a Dropbox. None of this requires a bigger camera. None of it requires a bigger budget. It requires you to stop thinking like a, filmmaker who needs to get better gear and start thinking about the storytelling when the business is attached. A videographer who are booked out, who have waiting lists, who, charge what work is actually worth. They're not necessarily more talented than you. They just figured out beautiful footage is the entry fee. The formula is what closes the deal. You stop taking snapshots and you start capturing images. You stop sending files and you start delivering results. Stop letting the gap between craft and strategy limit your hustle. You have everything that you already need to start charging what your work is worth. This is the framework. Now go execute. If this gave you something real to work with, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more creators who are out here trying to level up their work and their business. I will see you in the next one. Keep creating. Peace.